Tonight on DC News Now at 5.
Summer starting off with some scorching heat in the DMV with triple-digit heat today and on your Tuesday. We'll talk about it coming up.
DC now in a heightened state of awareness. How local law enforcement agencies are responding to the attacks in Iran.
And Metro has some changes starting today. How it could impact your commute.
Helping students of incarcerated parents on their path to success. The program that's kickstarting their futures in tonight's DMV Doers.
And as the temps stay hot, so does your energy bill. We're stretching your dollar on ways to cut costs for that next bill.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
And thank you very much for joining us for DC News Now at 5. I'm Mark Hall.
And I'm Joseph Akile. We're starting off talking about the weather and just how extremely hot and warm. I think we've been saying summer scorcher all day.
Yeah, I mean, you have the humidity, the heat. You know, folks are doing whatever they can, you know, to try and limit their exposure. And the people that have to be out and about, you know, they're staying hydrated and, you know, wearing hopefully the appropriate clothing. But it is a struggle out there, Tosin.
And those temperatures make it a DMV First Warn Day because we're dealing with those heat numbers. And those numbers behind you, Scott, they're not pretty at all.
No, downright dangerous across the region here for some of you. Look at this. Waldorf at 115, Leesburg feels like 115 outside. Whew, unbelievable. No picnic here in DC as well. 108, 109 at Manassas. We're looking at triple-digit heat just about everywhere, and where you're not, it's close to it. Winchester right now, 99 is what it feels like outside. Even right along the coast here, Annapolis, it feels like 104, and Lexington Park, it feels like it's 106. So, yeah, dangerous heat out there. Certainly take precaution if you have to be out for any length of time. The actual temperature itself will be dropping through the 90s and getting into the upper 80s here around 10, 11 o'clock before the midnight hour, and then falling and sliding down to about 81 for an overnight low around 5 o'clock in the morning. So we're starting off steamy, and we're going to continue to see this heat build across the area. And here's just another look at it. Your evening planner tonight from 8 to 9 to 10 o'clock. I've now thrown on the feels like plus the temperatures out there. Sunsets at 8:37. It's going to feel like it's about 105 at that time here in DC with a 95-degree temperature, 91 at 9 and 89 here at 10 o'clock under a clear sky. And as you can see, we go from 105 down to 102 down to finally below that triple-digit feels like temperature around that mid-evening period. Unfortunately, we don't have any showers or thunderstorms tonight to cool us down. We're under an extreme heat warning till 9 o'clock, and then we'll do it all over again. I'll show you who's under the extreme heat warning for Tuesday coming up in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Scott. And feeling the heat everywhere, including, Mark, on the National Mall, one of DC's most iconic landmarks, is closed today because it's just too hot.
Yeah, DC News Now's Randy Bass was at the monument. She has the latest.
The Washington Monument closed for tours today. The NPS says it's too hot for both tourists and workers to keep things safe. But that doesn't mean the work stops for local vendors on the mall.
This is the grind, this is the dedication, determination.
Antoine Davis and Dominic Gibson say hot days like today are always busy.
So hot, I don't even like to charge people in this weather for real. So I just want people to stay hydrated. Don't let dehydration ruin your vacation.
Trying to beat the heat themselves.
I just try to stay cool, pop a bottle of water here and there, and keep my umbrella.
This is a hard time of year to be outside working.
DC Fire and EMS Chief John Donnelly knows it too well. He says if you are planning on spending time out in the heat,
So I'd just remind everybody this time of year to drink a lot of water, hydrate. It's the best. Water is your best asset. Stay in the shade. Take your time on tasks that you have to do outside, or wait until later in the day or tomorrow morning to do those tasks.
All right, thanks to Randy Bass. Meanwhile, Amtrak announcing delays and some cancellations. Temperature-related speed restrictions are underway. That's happening through 8 p.m. and commuters traveling between D.C., Philadelphia, Harrisburg, and New York may be impacted by delays. Amtrak canceled 4 trains from D.C. to New York today.
All right, and make sure you remember to get check with DCNewsNow.com to stay ahead of the extreme heat that is here and for the next few days. You can also scan this QR code right here on your screen.
We continue to follow the war between Iran and Israel. Iran following through on its threat to retaliate against the U.S., launching missiles at near a military base in Qatar.
Yeah, the Pentagon confirms that attack targeting the Al Udd air base. Missiles were intercepted. They say no U.S. service members were hurt. Iran claims the strike was in direct response to U.S. airstrikes on 3 of its nuclear sites over the weekend. Republicans, they're backing the president's tough stance, but Democrats say he's pushing the country closer to war without congressional approval.
But if they refuse to engage in diplomacy moving forward, why shouldn't the Iranian people rise up against this brutal terrorist regime?
And back here in the district, law enforcement operating at a heightened state of awareness after that attack in Iran over the weekend, and that includes higher police visibility and security around the city. Our Marielle Carbone is live from the Capitol. Marielle, you spoke to local officials today. What are they telling you is the actual threat level here?
Well, Tosin, D.C. officials say there is no known threat at this point, but the threat level, it remains high. Homeland Security even issuing a national terrorism advisory following the weekend attacks. Across the district, more police visibility after the U.S. attacked 3 nuclear sites in Iran over the weekend.
We are the nation's capital, and we stand at a heightened state of awareness.
According to Mayor Muriel Bowser, there are no known threats to D.C., but the district is closely monitoring the events in Iran and sharing intelligence.
Well, the MPD is deploying with situationally appropriate strategies.
Specifically, MPD is maintaining an increased presence at religious institutions, including outside the Capitol Jewish Museum, where 2 Israeli embassy staffers were gunned down last month. MPD writing in a statement, "We continue to urge the public to remain vigilant and help keep our community safe. If you see something, say something." Meanwhile, the Metro Transit Police Department also enhancing its presence, saying in a statement, "We continue to work closely with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to ensure the safety of America's metro system."
We recognize that as tensions escalate, that means that there could be more potential for threats here at home.
Sunday, the Department of Homeland Security issuing a national terrorism advisory bulletin, warning of the potential threat of low-level cyber attacks from Iran and mobilization of violent extremists if Iranian leadership issued a religious ruling calling for retaliatory violence. And that advisory is in place until September 22nd. Mark and Tosin, the next big event happening here in D.C., of course, is the 4th of July coming up next week. And the mayor says she expects to have more information on intelligence, including any potential threats to that event as we get closer to the 4th of July. Reporting live from the Capitol, I'm Marielle Carbone, D.C. News Now.
All right, Marielle, thank you. Lawmakers in Maryland are reacting to the U.S. airstrikes over the weekend on Iranian nuclear targets. Maryland U.S. Representative April McClain Delaney praised the U.S. forces on the success of their mission, saying that it helped to counter the grave risk to American and global security. She did say, however, that she had hoped that Capitol Hill would have been briefed in advance so lawmakers could weigh in with their perspectives. Other political figures in Western Maryland said that the U.S. acted appropriately by striking Iran.
President Trump really needs to sit down with Congress to let us know his plan in terms of both military and diplomatic initiatives, and to make sure that our Americans who are contractors and employees, our military is safe.
I think President Trump did what he had to do, and he used those bunker bombs to stop Iran.
Parrott, who has run for Congress in the past, said that the Obama and Biden administration share a great deal to blame for allowing Iran to build its nuclear arsenal. Coming up in our next half hour, our national correspondent has the latest.
All right, we want to show you this video here, new this afternoon. It was capturing the shocking moments yesterday when a car continued driving through opposing traffic. It happened on Suitland Parkway near Stanton Road. My gosh, that is very scary. Several cars you see there trying to be at a standstill, getting out of the way for that car driving in the absolute wrong direction. Now, the exact reason as to why this driver went down the wrong lanes, that is still not clear. DC News Now reached out to police for additional details. We are waiting to hear back.